Hello, J. Dylan Madhab back again. It is a winter wonderland. We are December and it is ski season across most of the country. At least the popular ski resorts, Vail, Breckenridge, Whistler, Canada, and so on and so forth. What I'd like to know is, why do you never see black skiers? I'm just curious, why do you never see a lot of black people that ski? Do they have an aversion to winter, to snow, to ice? They like their cold pops. They ain't got time for it, but they like their cold pops. So it is a mystery. I'm just, trying to get to the bottom of this. But then again, there's a lot of ethnicities that don't participate too commonly in the winter sports. I don't think Indians are among them. A lot of Indians in Canada now with that population ski, snowboard, and so on and so forth. If I go to Breckenridge or Vail, I will see, guaranteed, some Indian family or two skiing or trying to ski because, hey, we don't have skiing in India, so we're now in the US and we have places like Colorado. So guess what? Let's take up skiing and let's also try ice skating and let's also try snowboarding. And invariably, one kid will end up in the hospital with a broken leg. And that will be the end of that interest in winter sports. Summer sports, on the other hand, has its own racial profiling. You will see races participating well in summer sports and other races participating but not so well. But speaking of profiling, I'll actually tell you a true but sad story, which was very soon after 9/11, and I was working for a Compaq Computer. And I was on a business trip from Houston to Omaha, Nebraska, the fun capital of the United States, Omaha, Nebraska. They do have an Applebee's, just so you know, so nice. Look for that if you're traveling, especially if you're a minority. Applebee's. Not if you want good food, but something edible, Applebee's. I think they're like one step up from, or maybe down from TGI Fridays. Anyway, Chili's, I don't know, they're all over the place here in the South, and they're all shit, in my opinion. But I'm a little picky as far as a food connoisseur. So I did go on a business trip. I did fly from Houston to Omaha, Nebraska, where I saw a lot of white people and not a lot of non-white people. And I swear to God, I went into Applebee's because that was near around where I was staying for this particular business trip. And I looked around and I really felt like I'm the only brown person in here. It's a lot of like middle America families, you know, people are sort of family oriented and big and eat a lot and so on and so forth. And I really felt uncomfortable, especially that soon after 9/11. I literally was like, I just want a steak. I feel very uncomfortable in this fucking place. I just want to get my mediocre Applebee's steak and get the fuck out of here, which is what I did. I just was like in a hurry to eat and then get out for like my own personal safety. But the most fucked up thing that I've just felt this has never happened to me before in my life, and it was the day of 9/11, and I was working at Compaq Computer in Houston with in a corporation full of very educated, for the most part educated, sophisticated, mature types, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, what you would expect, professionals in a Fortune 50 company. And I swear to God, I came to work that day in the morning. I remember it vividly. It was like 8 something in the morning, and I came in to arrive watching their TV screen, which was in the lobby, these flat panels, among other groups of people, and just watching this whole 9/11 disaster, and tragedy, and I can't even put words to it. But watching is one of the most heinous and spectacular things I have ever witnessed in my life on TV. And seeing this thing, and then pretty much immediately left for the day to go home because that was sort of the protocol. They thought maybe, hey, Dallas is, Houston, Texas in general, large cities might be unsafe with all this shit going on. So I might as well evacuate and give everyone the day off. I swear to God, I went straight to the mall, the Willowbrook Mall down off FM 60 in Houston. I thought, hey, I'll take advantage of this weekday off time here. I went and did a little shopping. I got some of the most fucked up looks I've ever received. I have been the victim of some very severe racism, particularly growing up. But this is definitely something, one of a few instances that's on the list in terms of just uncomfortableness for me, where I get looks from people who pre 9/11 probably ordinarily wouldn't really, think much of it or bat an eye, but looked at me like I was the fucking terrorist and I was Al Qaeda and they wanted to murder me. I've never seen white people look at me like that before in my life. I consider myself like to be a white person, because I get along with them and that's what I grew up with. So to be like isolated like that was just, whoa, this is really weird. But I literally went, and this wasn't an exaggeration, this was the time, I went to my apartment and barely left my apartment for 3 weeks out of just like a fear of personal safety, to just let some of this emotional, flare up towards us people of color. Yes, I'm a person of color, included in that group. You see, I have color. So I literally was like a hermit in my apartment for 3 weeks, just to let things settle a little bit before I said, hey, let me venture out a little bit in Houston and go to the malls and the movies and things like that. Isn't that fucked up? Isn't that fucked up? I never liked living in a place where I feel my race. It pisses me off, and it's a quality of life, and it means it's a shitty place for me to live and conduct my life. And I'll give you a few examples of that. When I grew up in Vancouver, outside of Vancouver in a suburb, in the 70s and 80s, that was a fucking racist place at that time. Not today so much, at that time. And I want people to remember and be reminded about this. I was the only minority in my class. Okay, there were like 3 in the whole school. But in my class, the only minority right up until college. And if you're the only minority, you are a fucking alien from some other planet, because people don't know what you are. I was always very good in English. I never got an A in English. I swear to God that was the racist teachers that said, we ain't giving this brown guy a fucking A in English, even though his English is outstanding. It's just a mental block. We ain't gonna do it. Furthermore, I got all, hey, why don't you go back to your own country? I got called a Hindu or a Paki every fucking day for about 10 years of my life. From childhood, when I moved there from 6 years old, up until well into my teenage years, I got called a Hindu and a Paki every single day by someone. And that was a norm. And by the way, the teachers were very racist too. We used to have, picture this, okay? This is in the 80s. We used to have teachers, junior high and high school teachers, that used to make jokes to me and the few other Indian or Asian classmates, or people who even worked in the school, like the janitor was Indian. And the heinous conduct of these teachers is they actually used to say to your face at the end of the day, Oh, are you going home now to eat rice with your family? You're going to enjoy the rice with your Indian family? That is fucked up from a teacher. You will never see that. You will never see that in a school today across America. Ain't nobody gonna get away with that shit before the ACLU or someone gets on that and some shit goes down. But we didn't have a community of strength. We didn't have a voice in the society. There was nothing we could do. Quite honestly, there was nothing. There was nothing we could do. That was a time of my life that I have mental scars today. That some serious racially fucked up, terrible, terrible judgment and association of various stigmas on me that absolutely did not apply. And in fact, after 9/11, I remember going to Houston to pick up a friend of mine, and I had a nice BMW convertible, and we were just driving on a Sunday, no big deal. We went to pick up a friend of mine who was living in an apartment in South Houston. I was with an Indian friend in my passenger seat and a female Indian friend who we were going to pick up. And we went in there and we encountered some, just like random, my top was down, some random military guy who was clearly drunk, just comes up to me. We're innocently waiting. We're waiting for the friend to come out so we can go on our lunch. Great. Sunday evening plans. Let's enjoy it. Guy comes up to me and he's right away in my face. He goes, "Are you Muslim?" I'm like, what the fuck? Nobody ever asked me this shit to my face before. "Are you Muslim?" "Oh, yeah?" And then he was all belligerent. "Oh, you want to fight me? Are you fucking Muslim? Get out of that car. I will kick your ass right now." I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Man, I'm not used to this shit. It's whatever we had in Canada and whatever the 80s and some of the 90s were. We never had shit like that right in our face, and just crazy, like racial experiences. But it's funny how time changes things, because now I swear to God, people in Plano and in Dallas, I'm just saying, this is what I heard, this is my experience. White women love Indian men or Asian guys in general. I kid you not. You may be pissed off about that, but this is the fact. White women in Dallas and North Dallas love Indian men because they know today Indian men have money and they have jobs and they have money and they're employed and they're fairly polite and respectful and cordial and so on, and they have money. So that is where the mindset is at. But to see the shit I went through in the 70s, like you're not wanted here, you're inferior, you're backwards, you're not valued, you're shit, you're not a human being. And then fast forward like 25 years to the way that we get treated today. When me and my brothers, two Indian guys, honestly, and I think we carry ourselves pretty well, but we go into some nice places in Dallas. I mean, we've been to the best of the best in terms of restaurants and wine bars and this and that. We get outstanding treatment. I don't know if it is part of just their protocol or they're just trying to go out of their way to be respectful, but they know, hey, these ain't no two chumps that just came fresh off the boat. We go in there and we get fucking outstanding treatment. But again, I think it comes back. They know the Indian community here is pretty educated for the most part. They're family oriented and they have money. And it is interesting to me. It is interesting to me how someone can frame you in that way. And if you frame yourself in that way and go in there expecting to be respected and nothing short of it, and then receiving that respect, that you got what you feel like you deserve in terms of customer service. And we get it every single time we go out. But I'll tell you, 20 years ago, the places we used to go to, it's like you were not getting preferential treatment. You were going to be waiting longer. You were going to be sitting in the shittiest fucking seat in the house. So I've just seen it come full circle. So for whatever that's worth, uh, you know, we ain't going anywhere. The Indian community, statistically, I believe, is the most affluent community in the immigrant community in the United States today. So we've accomplished something, which means we are going on to achieve something. So there's no joke here. In fact, there's a lot of tragedy and sadness here, but then there's some redeeming elements that come to light only over time. I remember when I was married and my ex-wife, who happened to be Mexican but very white skinned, you wouldn't know she's foreign actually until she spoke because of the accent. But she had white skin, like freckles. She looked like she was Irish, white freckles. And we would actually get, for the most part, everyone was pretty cool. Interracial, was not a big deal. But interesting to note, the most discrimination, outwardly comments that were made to us were, guess who? Actually, the older Indian generation, the grandmothers, they were very disapproving. And we got some looks and comments and things. But we're the type of person where we were just like, we actually found it funny. We were not offended at all. We found it funny and entertaining to the point where we actually enjoyed that kind of scrutiny. Because, at the end of the day, that's all you can do. Right? So it's just food for thought. Every dog has their day. Your day may not be tomorrow. May not be today. It may not be tomorrow. It may be 10 or 15 years from now. But every dog has their day. So that's my commentary, and I'm Jay. Peace out.